Hey, you guys, it's Mo from Mo in the Deep End, and we've got another absurd story for you. And this one, I think, definitely will bring final form Jesus here. So, you have been warned the rapture is upon us, allegedly in Minecraft. Banned as a form of, well, torture, it's back in the spotlight, this time as a TikTok challenge. Quote, I nearly died. Now, you think we would have all have learned our lesson after the, Tide Pod and planking and licking people's toilets and all of the basic dumb assery that we have seen on TikTok. TikTok, what have you done for humanity? Well, you've given us kitten videos that are short, but other than that, you've made humanity stupider. They're drowning themselves for clout. Eager influencers are putting themselves through torture for the latest dangerous social media trend, and this one could actually kill you. Now, I don't know if you need to hear this. If you need to hear this, you're going to need more help than one public service announcement. But please don't water torture yourself for clicks. It's bad. Okay. You don't, if you need to nearly die to be famous, it is not worth it. Again, if you were in need of this public service announcement, I do have some questions like, have you burnt out your retinas looking at that bright, shiny ball in the sky every that comes every day? How have you not, suddenly asphyxiated because you forgot to breathe, the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide? Also, how is it you've managed not to drown yourself, unintentionally by forgetting to swallow? These are all questions I need answered if you do this for clout. There are clips of people covering their faces with towels and dumping water on their heads in an attempt to water torture themselves. Again, I'm not going to use the real word because I don't know how YouTube thinks about it, but I do report on dumbassery. Their attempt to water torture themselves are going viral on TikTok, showing their fans what it's like to endure this form of interrogation technique that is prohibited by law and the Geneva Convention and possibly humanity. But sure, do it for clicks. You're a genius. Some of the shameful videos have been taken down from the popular site, but several remain. In one of the most recent videos, still online at the time of publication, a TikToker at TKK7 sat down on the edge of his shower with a gray bath towel over his face, leaned back, and dumped a large bowl of water on himself. His legs immediately started kicking as he makes gurgling sound. What in the hell are you doing? Why? Just look, I'm not saying that we're evolving into idiocracy, but I'm not saying it wasn't a portent of the future at this point, because what in the name of all that is holy, unholy, hoodness, and goodness is this ridiculousness? I'm not saying this is late in French, but I am not saying that it is smart. And of all of the trends, can't we just bring planking back, honestly? "Okay, don't try that at home," he said as he sputtered to breathe and struggled to catch his breath, into the camera, still panting. "Man, I nearly died." Yes, I wouldn't, and I'm not gonna show the video of this because, again, I don't know. I know YouTube generally doesn't like people, self-baddening. Now, viewers were left shocked by the bizarre and extremely risky move. Quote, methods of torture are now being used for enjoyment. We ought to pray. Yes. Lord save us from morons. One of the top comments read, however, several responded that they wanted to try it for themselves, and thousands of videos with hashtag water torture prove that many have. Now, that is not the actual, tagline. You can see it on the article, but again, YouTube is a butthole. That being said, these people vote. Be very afraid. Also, I hope he's wearing some shorts, otherwise that is also not YouTube content creation okay. Now, a TikToker, Elan0 was one of those. Is it really that bad? Might have to try it, he commented before sharing a similar video which ended with the young man gasping for air. Why are we doing this to ourselves? One person replied. Uh, These are trends our parents talk about, another said. Water torture is a form of torture that causes a person to feel as though they're drowning and causes near suffocation. Again, it floods your sinuses and gives you the distinct impression that you are drowning. Um, and a lot of things can go wrong because our bodies are on the good enough plan. Whether you believe in intelligent design, evolution, or the giant spaghetti monster in the sky, our body is a bit odd in that you would think you would have a separate distinct tube for breathing and eating so nothing could get aspirated, but our body's like, "Meh, it'll be okay." That being said, what are we doing here? Now, this tactic has been banned by international human rights law. However, the US did admit to using the technique during the post 9/11 war on terror. I'm kind of the opinion, now I'm not an international lawologist or human rights expertness, although the ones I know, look, I'm just saying we aren't in Geneva. I'm okay. All right. Like, if you attempt to unalive like a gajillion and 12 people because your God said so, I'm okay with you feeling a little bit, sniffly. That being said, I don't think it should be used. There are varying studies on the effectiveness of, let's say, physically enhanced interrogation, whether they lead to the discovery of actual usable facts, or people will say anything to stop the pain. Now, as a CRPS person, I can tell you that on really bad days, I am willing to do just about anything to stop the pain. So I can tell you that it doesn't seem to me to be the most reliable way to get reliable information, but I am not an expertologist in anything. I'm just a redhead who babbles on the internet. So while it doesn't seem effective to me, I've never been in the trenches. I don't know, but I do know that kids shouldn't be doing this for clout on the internet. Not to mention, you can pass out. You can become hypoxic, which is, or not hypoxic. You can just become starved of oxygen. You can pass out. You can be hit your head. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Stop being dumb, humanity. Could we stop? Could we take 5 minutes to firmly take our shoulders, very firmly, and tug real hard and get our collective heads out of our behinds? Because I really love these stories, but I can see someone passing away and then, some dumb, politician trying to ban TikTok. Honestly, if we made our TikTok like the Chinese TikTok, where it's more about science and interpersonal relationships and good things, it would require a level of censorship that no American would like. But sometimes I think we need just like the Magic School Bus and a civics sort of TikTok and delete all the other ones so people could learn some stuff. That being said, I am on the internet, so I don't know if I can throw stones, but I have never planked, licked a toilet, eaten a Tide Pod, or water tortured myself for clicks. So I do feel slightly morally superior, but there you have it. The rapture is upon us, y'all. If again, final form Jesus is upon us with these sort of stories. I hope you have a great day. Remember, as always, be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because kindness no longer equals doormat. Bye, you guys.